Hi Taurus, and welcome to your weekly tarot reading. So I'm going to pull you a card before I shuffle the rest of the deck, and you get the Breathe card. So sometimes when the Breathe card appears, there's a couple of different scenarios. Things might feel a little bit intense when the Breathe card shows up, like you're being pushed to make a decision, or you're trying to push someone else to make a decision. It's got an underlying message when it shows up, and it's about what's the hurry, okay? There's probably a little bit of a need to slow yourself down, Taurus. Give me a minute to cut the cards. To slow yourself down and take a step back. I understand in life we're always, sometimes we're working against the clock, but not all the time. And when the Breathe card appears, there's generally a bit of a message to move into your own element. So move into the earth. And the earth moves the way the earth moves. Okay? So slow, steady, solid, and don't let anyone push you into making any decisions you're not ready to make. Okay? But we'll find out more. Can I cut the cards one more time? Yeah, and they're ready. So what's behind you? Four of Cups. The gift is the Seven of Swords. Challenge is the Moon card. Okay, give me a minute. Other people's energy is the High Priestess. Yeah, there's things maybe not been spoken about here. The High Priestess, and when it shows up in relationships, is the Keeper of Secrets. Basically, that's it. It's a Keeper of Secrets. The High Priestess is the Oracle. It's also the Keeper of Secrets. So it tends to show up when people are potentially not putting their cards on the table. It can often speak of a very strong energetic connection with someone, but the relationship doesn't begin to take form until we get to the Empress card. Okay, but let me look. King of Swords underneath the Seven of Swords. And then the Eight of Swords. Oh boy, Taurus, okay. Something is very stuck here. The Challenge is the Moon card. Okay, the Moon card can talk about fears and insecurities. But it can also talk, because the High Priestess is here, the Eight of Swords and the Seven of Swords, I've got a feeling there's something not been spoken about. What's not been spoken about? Yeah, it's an emotional issue. Queen of Cups. And this is where you're coming from. So the Four of Cups is this cup being offered. Yeah. But no one's getting up to do anything about it. It's a card of, if this is you and someone else, you have to cross-watch to see how the other person's reading is. But it's a cup. And all you're doing is absolutely staring at this cup, but no action is happening. And that's definitely reflected in how other people are showing up for you when the High Priestess shows up. The High Priestess is the Keeper of Secrets. That's the end of it. I'm not talking about deceptive, undermining secrets, but she doesn't reveal herself. She's got a veil on. See? It's a very yin energy. So there's not a lot coming from other people this week. I think this is definitely an emotional issue because I clarified it with the Queen of Cups. So why is the Seven of Swords the gift? Because if the Seven of Swords is the gift, it would imply non-action is not a mistake. This guy's body language is fixed. He's not walking forward and he's not going backwards, okay? He's just standing there. He's still looking behind him, but he's not in the future and he's not in the past. He's right in the middle space, but it is the gift, which would say to me, actually, maybe you not going forward this week is a gift, and that's what the Breathe card would imply. a slowing down, or what's the hurry? Taurus, enjoy being a Taurus, because to enjoy being a Taurus is to enjoy, it's about enjoying sensuality, but it's enjoying the slowness of time. It's about enjoying the senses and enjoying your own presence. Why is the Seven of Swords the gift? Because the Seven of Swords with the King of Swords would talk about trying to bring truth to a situation, because it's a king, basically. And the Seven of Swords is the gift. Even though non-moving might be a gift, I think there might be another message here for you, that trying to bring some clarity and some awareness and some truth into a situation is the way forward. Although with the Eight of Swords is the outcome, I'm going to move the cards. Eight of Swords is the outcome. There's still a feeling of, because of circumstances preventing you fully moving forward. And you know what? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, all the same colour. Okay? So they're dark blue. They represent nighttime. Things illuminate in the sun. But there's a feeling here, Taurus, of everything feeling a little bit stuck. Okay? Now, being stuck is part of life. Sometimes we have to go backwards to go forwards. That is just the way it is. I need to get an advice card for you. Give me an advice card for Taurus, please. Yeah, okay, bizarre. Your advice is the Queen of Cups, the Clarifier, and the Chariot. Both are vehicles. This Queen walks forward in this deck. None of the other queens do, by the way. They might beckon, but she walks forward offering her cup. And the Chariot is a vehicle. There almost seems a need to bring the King of Swords, which is to bring the truth to a situation, because there seems to me there's a lot of unspoken stuff, and I would say particularly in relationship energies. The moon is, as a challenge, is a feeling of not knowing what's coming next. Okay? And I think that's coming from other people with that High Priestess. People aren't talking about stuff, and you've been asked to, obviously you've been asked to use this King of Swords to get out of the Shadowlands of the Seven of Swords. Okay? And actually, I think you've been asked to move forward, to make some sort of action that brings along some sort of movement. Do I think everything's going to be resolved this week? No, because you end in the Eight of Swords, and the Eight of Swords is one of these pain in the neck cards, okay? It tends to show up with a feeling of, because of circumstances, you're not able to move forward, yeah? So there's a little bit of an irony that you've been asked to do some sort of action, to bring some sort of truth to a situation. But it looks like if this is a relationship dynamic, the people are not going to come through right away and be in this truth with you, Taurus. What comes after the Eight of Swords? One card. Okay, get the Strength card, which is Leo. But it's also about living through your heart. Resources, bringing strength together. So what's Taurus trying to get the strength about? It's definitely a relationship, look. And it feels that it's in a relationship issue that's stuck. So we get stuck for a couple of different reasons. We obviously get stuck when things have not been spoken about, obviously, but sometimes, because the tarot represents just the cycles of life, we're in day, we're in night, Sometimes we're just in a cycle, Taurus, when it's not the right time to bring clarity to a circumstance. So that is just a natural cycle, and after that comes clarity. This is definitely a relationship issue. Give me a little bit more for Taurus, please. Give me an advice card. One card is an advice. Okay, you get the peace card. And peace comes when we're not pushing anything, and when we're not... It's not that we don't act. You've obviously been asked to do some sort of action here, to offer this cup, to try and get things moving. But sometimes the peace card is always saying, a classic example is you send an email, but then you step back and you just allow the unfoldment of time. So you allow what is it they say we do without doing? So we do the action, we take a step back. The Brave card very often shows up with the Eight of Swords, because the Eight of Swords is wanting to push the river. And I don't know if any of you have ever tried pushing a river, but it's impossible. And it's impossible because things have their own timing. And again, we're back to the fact it's not that we don't make attempts, because obviously there's an attempt required here to get whatever this is moving. But then you need to step back. What is it Taurus is dealing with here? It's definitely a relationship. You've got the Blessed card, which is pretty much the same as the Ace of Cups. I mean, it is the Ace of Cups. It's definitely a love situation. Taurus, breathe. Move into your solar energy, which is always going to be about that peace, that receptivity. Allowing everything sorts itself out sometimes if we allow it, but pushing only gets you in this knot. And taking a step back allows you to feel at peace. If you're doing cross-watching, look at how their cards are showing up, because that might give you a bit more insight. I'll be back doing September's readings next week. So hopefully that will just keep bringing this further clarity, Taurus. Taurus, take care of yourself. Breathe. Yeah, there's just no... Actually, you know, it's funny because you know Uranus is going retrograde. It's in Taurus. It's in your sign. Aquarius did get quite a similar reading with a little bit of a... because it's going retrograde, there's going to be a feeling of uncertainty that we're all dealing with. And that's what the moon is. It's a challenge. And it might be something you're going to have to embrace when this cycle is going on for you. Okay? Take a deep breath. Lots of love, Taurus, and speak to you next week. Bye.